Hey, friends, welcome back to Success by Design. I'm so glad you're here because we're talking about not just designing beautiful spaces, but creating beautiful businesses that actually sustain your creativity and your lifestyle. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. And I'm your host, Katie Decker Erickson. And today we're wrapping up our three-part series in your interior designer survival guide through economic uncertainty. And ooh, are we seeing it? So if you missed the first two episodes, not to worry, you can go back and catch those. The first one was all about pricing with confidence in a shaky economy. And part two, we dove into creating demand in a slow market. And now in part three, we're going to bring it home with how to build a resilient business foundation. We're going to talk about why you should stay visible when it's easy to go quiet like everybody else does, and how creative adaptability is going to keep you relevant even in a market like this. How dialing in your systems, I know I love systems, but how they are so important to working, especially when times are uncertain. We're going to take a look at how to build a network around you that really supports you and how emotional stability really creates longevity in our industry. All right, two truths and a lie. Let's get right to it. You know the game. See if you can spot it. If not, we'll reveal it at the end. Number one, resilient businesses are built during easy seasons, not the hard ones. Systems and relationships are what carry you through uncertainty, is number two. And number three, emotional sustainability is as critical as financial sustainability. All right, keep your guess handy. I'm going to tell you the lie at the end. But first, I want to talk with you about what does a resilient business actually look like? We can talk about it, but as an old expression goes, it can be like nailing jello to a wall. It's not easy to see what it looks like. So let's just start with what does resilience actually mean? And it's not about perfection, which I know many of you are because I hear from you. It's also not about pushing hard. And I know that we have a lot of workaholics here as well. No, it's about designing stability inside of your business, which is so incredibly important. Because when you have a resilient firm, it can flex when things slow down, it can shift when those trends start to change. And most importantly, it can stay steady even when we're seeing the kind of economic turmoil that we are seeing at the moment. In fact, Harvard Business Review studied thousands of companies that weathered the 2008 and the 2020 downturn, and they found that those that continue to invest in systems and in their marketing and in innovation were the ones that rebounded faster and stronger. The same is exactly true in our industry. Because resilience isn't built through panic, it's built through planning. This is about consistent visibility, about strong systems, and about putting the right people around you. All right, visibility is vital. Do not pull back. I know you want to, but it's not the place to be. When everybody else is shirking, do not shirk. It is so easy to shrink into the background and to want to conserve energy and wait it out. Or, like I've often heard people say, I'm going to take a deep breath, put my head under the water, hang out here and wait for the wave to crash over me. Yeah, but in business, pulling back visibility is like turning off the open sign on your studio door. It really is not going to serve you well. In fact, Harvard Business Review also found that companies that maintained visibility when times were uncertain saw a 256%, that's almost a 3x higher post-recovery growth. This is not the time to take that deep breath and disappear underneath the wave. When others go quiet, you're going to double down on that clarity and consistency. So keep posting, but speak to what your clients are feeling, not just what you're selling. Remember, you have to whiff them or what's in it for me. Until you can explain that to their client and show them what's in it for them, they're not going to come knocking. Also, share what's inspiring you creatively. Clients hire confidence. They don't hire desperation. So when you feel inspired and you feel certain and you feel creative, that's very attractive to your ideal client. And then find those partners and collaborators you want to work with. Build that relational visibility, not just brand visibility. People don't love brands. People connect with other people. And so be that person. And then educate your audience. It allows you to be the subject matter expert they're looking for. So share your insights, share mistakes to avoid. I know that's a vulnerable moment, and there's a delicate way to do that to make sure you're not hurting your brand, but you're showing that you are growing and going. Don't be afraid to share your project stories because this allows you to really teach how you did what you did. Remember, you're not selling design, You're leading with stability, and that stability is going to build trust. Let's talk about creative adaptability. This is kind of like your hidden resiliency muscle, and it's one of the most powerful underused tools in your business. You may think it's your creativity that made you who you are for your design projects. Not necessarily, because creative adaptability when it comes to the business side of your business is what is going to keep you agile, a core business value. It's going to keep you relevant. And these two things are so important in an unpredictable market. Now is not the time to reinvent yourself. It's just about staying open to the possibility. So here's how to practice this creative adaptability in real life. First of all, I want you to stay curious. I tell my kids this all the time. If you are curious and kind, the world is your oyster. The same is true for us as designers. Ask yourself, what are my clients struggling with right now? Maybe they want comfort. Maybe they want simplicity. Maybe they're really looking for functionality. Your designs and your offers should respond exactly to meeting one of those needs that they are struggling with. And then experiment small. Don't be afraid. In fact, I once heard a great podcast by Jeff Bezos, and he was saying that he allows his employees up to a certain dollar number to make a mistake. We implemented that in our firm, and I will tell you, it was the biggest game changer. And here's why. If your people are allowed to walk into a room, realize they can make a mistake, and walk out of it, they are far more likely to make really good decisions and take a lot of decisions off your plate. In fact, in the whole time we've had this philosophy at our firm, we've only had to use and actually put a dollar figure to it once. People feel empowered. Try limited services if you're thinking about experimenting small. Maybe it's a mini design session or new types of partnerships. So we're not talking about discounting services, not at all. In fact, if you want to really flesh that out, go back and look at episode 1 of this series. We dive into detail about that. I want you to test and learn because small moves compound fast. And if something doesn't work, I also want you to fail fast. And you're going, what? Fail fast, Katie? Yeah, fail fast so you can move on because eventually you're going to find the success. So the faster you can fail, the more likely it is that you are going to succeed and do great things. All right, I want you to look outside of design for inspiration. We have so many good industries: fashion, hospitality, tech, art, all sorts of other industries can spark new ways to market and deliver your experience. Don't be afraid to look at those. In fact, I encourage you to take an active look at them. And then protect your creative space. This can be really hard to do, but don't let busyness steal your creative time. You need studio days. Schedule them. I'm a huge fan of just blocking time to be able to step into that space so you don't forget who you are, why you are here, and get to practice that muscle and stretch it and work it and use it to what made you who you are and how great you are. All right. See change as a design problem. Ooh, yeah. You solve complex problems in spaces all day long. I want you to apply that same creative energy to your business. When you start thinking about that, all of a sudden business becomes just as fun as laying out that next food board. Because adaptability is resilience in motion. When you stay curious, when you stay flexible, guess what? You stay ahead too. If you are listening to this and you are ready to take action and go all in on getting to work creating a design business that is wildly profitable, we're hosting a live interactive webinar on October 20th. That's this coming Monday, where we'll bring actionable steps you can implement right away. You can register right now by heading over to fixmydesignbiz.com. That's fixmydesignbiz.com. Seats are limited, so don't wait and miss your spot. Okay, back to the show. You know how much I love systems. So of course we couldn't talk about resiliency and not talk about systems in this episode. Systems are your safety net and they're also your sanity, which is why I absolutely love them. Think of them as the scaffolding that let your business grow taller without collapsing. Here are 4 systems that really define resilient design firms that I want to share with you. First of all, your financial systems. You have got to know your numbers, as you hear me say over and over again. Firms that review monthly finances are twice as likely to remain profitable in downturns, according to the Small Business Association. Know your revenue, know your project's performance, know your profit margins, and like you've heard me say, partner with a CPA who helps you forecast, not just file. All right, let's talk about project systems. Map your process from the first inquiry, the first time that phone rings, all the way through to that final install and the photography happening. Because when you create templates for those emails and those proposals and those deliverables, you start making a process that can be replicated and used over and over again. This is one of the keys to scaling your business. And the clearer that process is, the smoother the experience will be, not only for you, but also for your clients, and then for anyone else that you introduce on your team. This is critical. Another system I want to talk about is marketing systems. You do not need to reinvent the wheel every week. And this can be really tough for designers because we love to create. We think, I'm going to create this brilliant marketing piece and I'm going to try this new social media post and I'm going to build. And I want you to take a time out for a minute because not that there isn't value in being creative in that way and keeping fresh looks and fresh ideas. But when you can streamline your marketing, it gets so much more efficient and gets you back to the real business you love. And that's being creative in those spaces. So don't get sucked into the marketing black hole and don't reinvent that wheel every week. And then be willing to take a look at your operational systems because everything you do has a system, whether you're documenting it or not. The key is document it. There are so many good AI softwares out there anymore that allow you to document systems and put them in a training library for your people and for yourself when you go back and you refresh a project type that maybe you hadn't done in a year. Don't be afraid to use that software. It is such a gift and it allows you to really build out the business side of your business. Remember, a strong system doesn't remove creativity. We're about protecting your creativity here. I also want to talk about building a team around you that supports you. And this is another key aspect of resilience. You need a team. You cannot do this alone, nor should you, because resilience isn't about individual strength. It's truly about supported strength. These are the people that buttress you when you are going through economic uncertainty. These are the people that come alongside you and run with you. And there's really 3 layers of support that every thriving design business, I feel, should have. The first one is going to be your inner circle. This is your sacred place, and it's your emotional support. This is your spouse, your partner, your family, your friends. It's the people who keep you grounded and the people you feel safe sharing your wins with. Let them into your journey. Not only do you need them, but they also need you. And celebrate together. This can be really hard to do. Even the small victories, though, should be celebrated. Whether you're an introvert like me or you're living in American culture where celebration isn't adamantly embraced, there's immense value in it. Whether you land a new client, you get a positive review, maybe you've been trying a system and it finally clicks, this is the time to celebrate because celebration isn't just celebration unto itself and a dead end like we often think about. It actually is shown to create gratitude, and gratitude is going to fuel resilience. Isn't that powerful? The circle comes all the way back around. And let's talk about celebration. It really doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's a dinner out. Maybe it's a simple walk. Maybe it's just saying, hey, that project came together beautifully, and I am really proud of us. That acknowledgement connects you back to your why, which we know is so powerful, especially when avoiding burnout and building this resiliency internally. All right, layer 2 of your support team is going to be your business team or your operational support. And if you're out there and you're like, Katie, I don't have employees, I'm going to say, I get it. I went years without not only not an employee, not a contractor, it was nobody, it was just me. But you still have a team. And here's why. Do you have a bookkeeper? Maybe you have a CPA that helps you make smart decisions. Maybe you have a virtual assistant or an admin who is coming alongside you. Or maybe you get help with your marketing from a friend, or you have a photographer who keeps your message strong. Your goal is to design your firm so that you're spending your time on your creative projects, right? Creative direction and relationships. And every hour you can delegate out is an hour you gain for growth. This is so powerful because when you invest in support in this way, you protect your capacity to get back to doing what you love and what originally started you making money, which is designing and allowing your creativity and that avenue to come forward. All right, I want you to think about your professional network as well as part of your support network. This is about strategic support. So this is going to include peers. If you are not involved in a local IDS or Interior Design Society chapter, please find one. It is so lovely. And as my dear friend Michelle Lynn says, there are plenty of ugly houses for everyone. Find mentors, find industry allies, find people who understand your world and can speak your strategy, because especially if you're a solopreneur, it can feel lonely out there. So find those professional groups. Maybe it's a mastermind. Find the people who are going to challenge you. They're going to cheer you on, and they're going to remind you of what's possible, because you need to be able to dream with other people. If you never dream it, as the saying goes, you can't achieve it, right? Resilience grows in community. I want you to find your people, because when that circle is strong, you're going to have perspective when fear hits, and you're also going to have partners when that opportunity knocks. You're not meant to build this thing alone. I don't want you to think that you are. You're meant to build it supported. All right, let's talk about emotional sustainability and building a business that you actually like. Ooh, this can be hard to talk about, but it's so critical, because no matter how polished your systems are or how full your pipeline is, if you don't actually like your business, you're not going to sustain it. So how do you keep joy at the center of your design firm, whether it's you or an entire team? I want you to start by aligning your business with your life. Check in with yourself every quarter and ask yourself the tough question I ask every single time we record this podcast. Is your business working for you, or are you working for it? That is a tough but really important question when it comes to building resiliency, sustainability, and even scalability. Also, I want you to think about simplifying and streamlining. Cut what doesn't serve your mission or your energy, because when you remove clutter, you get clarity back in your life. There's just a direct correlation between those two. In fact, I was just coaching a client this week, and she said, I feel like I have to offer all these other services. Do I? No, you don't. Oh, she said, that feels so good. Thank you. I said, absolutely. Do what you love and do it well. And then set healthy boundaries and define your availability and don't deviate from it, because boundaries don't limit creativity. They're actually protecting you. So when you tell your clients that you don't respond to texts on weekends and they text you, you should never respond, because then you're just teaching them bad habits, right? And then protect your joy. Say no to projects that look great online, but do you ever just get a feeling of this isn't going to work? This isn't a good client fit. I don't know why, but I don't have peace about this. Yeah, don't do it. I can't tell you how many designers I talked to who said, I knew I shouldn't have taken the project, but I did. And then this happened. And it's so true. It's so easy for any of us to do, but have the courage to say, I don't have a good feeling about this project, and I'm going to walk away unapologetically. It's hard to do, but it's so valuable. And by the same token, say yes to the ones that bring energy and bring meaning. This is why we have a corporate social responsibility portion of our firm called ColorWorks Cares. We give back to our communities in really unique and fabulous ways that allow us to fuel our creative energy, fuel our joy, and that builds this exact thing we're talking about, sustainability and resilience. I also want you to reconnect with your why, because your why is your compass. Think of it like your northern star. Return to it when the noise out there gets loud. Because when your work feels aligned with your values and your life, everything else is going to stabilize. And that is the true foundation of resilience. In fact, let's look at what the data says about resilience. Harvard Business Review found that companies that balanced innovation and consistency were 60% faster at recovering after slow periods than those who pulled back. Do not pull back. You don't want to do it. All right, friend, let's land this plane. We've spent 3 episodes telling the truth about shaky seasons. In part 1, we chose clarity over panic and pricing. In part 2, we chose leadership over silence to create demand. And here in part 3, we're choosing a foundation over frenzy. Visibility, creative adaptability, dialing in those systems, building out a robust support team, and the emotional stability you need to actually enjoy the business you're building. And here is what I want you to hear as plainly as I can say it. You do not need a calmer economy to become a steadier leader. You need decisions that are small and brave and repeatable, and that stacks into resilience. Okay, I want to make this very actionable for you and very tangible. So I built you a 7-day resilience sprint. No overwhelm, no perfection, just one decisive step each day. So day 1, money and margin. Open your numbers for 30 minutes. I know you're terrified. Accounting isn't your happy place. Sit down with a friend, your bookkeeper, your CPA. Confirm your monthly net, your current cash runway, and your profit by service. If it isn't tracked, start a simple sheet today. We're looking for progress, not perfection. This is what I tell myself when I go to the gym too. All right, on day 2, it's about visibility and voice. I want you to post or email one thing people can use. Maybe it's a tip, a pitfall to avoid, or a checklist. Speak to what your client is feeling, not just what you're selling. Day 3 is about systems and sanity. So I want you to document one micro process. Maybe it's your inquiry goes to a discovery call or proposal and then to your deposit. Save the template, name it. You just made the future you wealthier. How do you beat that, right? Day 4 is about creative adaptability. And I want you to schedule one 60-minute studio block. No inbox, no I have my watch going off. This is about going to see, touch, and sketch and get on a mood board because curiosity is the antidote to fear. On day 5, I want you to think about your team and support and delegate one recurring task. Maybe it's your calendar, some vendor follow-up. I know I absolutely hate dealing with invoicing, whatever it is. If you can't delegate yet, price your next project to fund the support that you need. This is one of my favorite things to coach to as well. And then on day 6, I want to do a B2B check-in. I want you to text or email one connector, whether it was the builder, the realtor, the architect, the boutique owner, whoever it is who is in the perimeter or the periphery of your business. Start building those relationships. You can simply say, hey, thinking of you, what are you seeing in the market? Anything I can help you with this month when it comes to building your business? Remember to always give before you ask. And then on your final day, I want you to think about your emotional stability and do one small celebration with your spouse, partner, or friend, and mark the fact that you are building in real time a great design firm because gratitude fuels grit. All right, here's what you need to know. You don't have to outrun uncertainty. You just have to outdecide it with clarity, consistency, and courage. That's the quiet power of a resilient design firm. When noise rises, you rise higher, slower, and steadier. All right, time for those 2 truths and a lie revealed. Number 1, resilient businesses are built during the easy seasons, not the hard ones. Number 2, systems and relationships are what carry you through uncertainty. Or number 3, emotional sustainability is as critical as financial sustainability. The lie, number 1, you guessed it. Resilience isn't built in the easy seasons. It is forged in the hard ones. And these uncertain times are where your strongest foundation is going to take shape. Just like a diamond, the hotter and more pressure you're under, you can choose to crumble or you can choose to shine. So let's get busy doing this together. If you are ready to start showing up your foundation now, I want you to book a 15-minute problem-solving session with me at successbydesign.coach. We're going to identify your next move, whether that's tightening your systems, building your support system, or rediscovering your joy in business again. Because as you've learned now, business resilience isn't built alone. It's built decision by decision, step by step, system by system, and person by person. And you're already building something extraordinary. Now, pull in everybody around to help you. Until next time, remember, your business should be working for you, not you working for it. Take care.